We are in the club today, joined by Jessica Quande, co-founder of Commit Dance Fitness. I should call you Quande, though.
Welcome in.
Quande, tell us a little bit about the name, going from last name, first name.
Yeah,
What's the story there?
I go by Quande. I always tell everyone to drop the first name. But back in third grade, before third grade,
We're going back there. Beautiful.
we're going all the way back because
Okay.
we're going way back right now. My mom named me one of the most popular names of the 80s. So there was 5 Jessicas in my third grade class. We all had very different last names, and we had a couple of friends who'd always say like Jessica, and we'd all look, or the wrong one would, respond. And so they all kind of started calling us by our last names, and then mine has just forever just stuck. And so I don't know I forget how old you are in third grade, but I'm going to say 30-ish, 25, 30, probably 30-ish.
About 8 years old. You got a third grader.
37, so about 30 years. So 30 years now I've been going by Quande.
Yeah.
So friends, family, not family, friends and coworkers have all call me Quande, but then like family calls me by my first name.
I can relate to this. My last name, Jager, a lot of people call me that. There's a few Chris's in the building. Growing up, there was a few Chris's in my class. As an 80s baby, I understand the struggle of the name that was popular at the time. But it is something that I think it's personal branding in a lot of ways too. And it's just always cool to see that with the guests that come.
It's actually pretty funny. All 3 of us. My long last name, Stochinsky.
It's a mouthful.
Yes, it is. Outside my coworkers and family normally calls me Adam. They all call me Stowe. So kind of sad that no one calls me Adam, but it's okay. I survive.
I get the full Christopher whenever it's like
you're
my
in trouble.
father-in-law or my mom. Like there's certain people that just always call me Christopher.
You know that. Yeah, I get a good Jessica Lynn when I'm in trouble.
There you go.
The Jessica Lynn that that's only the mom can say. But it's funny because I'll know people for years and they only know me as Quande.
Sure.
And so we'll be in situations where they'll be like, "Hey, Quande, what's your last name?" And I'm like, Quande. So hence my Instagram name is Quande because they think that's my name. So I always have to let them know, it's my last name. My first name is Jessica.
You introduce yourself as Quande then?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
For the most part, it depends. Sometimes I'll go to get a coffee and I'll be with friends and I'll say Jessica. And they'll be like, "Why do you say Jessica?" I'm like, "Because then I have to explain how to spell Quande." So I'll just go with the easier things sometimes. So yeah.
So Quande, co-founder of Commit Dance Fitness. What is Commit all about?
Yeah, that is a great question. Commit is about so much. So Commit is one of the formats underneath the umbrella of CT by Fitness, which CT by Fitness is the company, Commit to You Fitness. And then Commit Dance Fitness is our format. So that's our first format. And then we are setting it up for success when we want to introduce new formats, which we're currently working on the second one, Commit Sculpt, right now. So Commit Dance Fitness is a 60-minute class that you'll find at studios and gyms. We are HIIT inspired. So we teach in levels, which looks a little something like this. We're going to take a basic jumping jack, for example. So within a choreo, we start at level 1, which would be a step out jumping jack. We go to level 2, which is your typical jumping jack. And then level 3, which is your highest level, which you're going to do a star jump, a tuck jump, something of the sort. We do dance to all genres of music, and that's the 60 minutes on the floor, but within Commit, it's so much more. It's community-based. It's things that we do off the dance floor that make us good humans. It's incorporating learning about how to be a better instructor. It's about learning athleticism and how you can support your students more. What are the signals that they might be overheating? What are those things? So it's educating yourself in different ways when it comes to being an instructor. So Commit is that 60 minutes, but it's a lifestyle for a lot of us and our instructors and our students, because it's created different communities everywhere that we are, where you get to see that they'll do Commit bowling night, Commit karaoke, and they all just students and instructors from all over in all these cities. It's so great to see something that was started as 60 minutes on the dance floor turn into something that people's lives kind of revolve around.
Yeah. I mean, you're building community, and I think that at the end of the day, that's at the heart of dance, and you're finding ways to bring that universal language of dance into the picture to help drive empowerment of folks and really help them on that fitness journey.
Yeah.
It's outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, for those instructors, I got a kind of a funny question here, right? Do they have names that they use? Like, would you use Quande, or do you have like a dance name? Is that a thing? Is that something?
So there's people that have alter egos.
Okay, that's what I guess what I'm talking about. Yeah.
So you know,
An avatar.
Yeah. So people will
Dance
have
master.
their name, and then they get. So one of our trainers in Virginia, her name is Miranda, and they call her Stay Turnt Miranda when she's teaching because she
That's
goes
nice.
crazy, and so it's fun. It allows. We do have like a lot of extroverts that are instructors, you know, that you would see day to day, quiet, whatever, and then they get on that stage and it's just like a completely different person.
Yeah.
And so it's fun. They tap into that energy.
How about you? Do you want to give us a name that you might go by, or is it just Quande? That's it.
It's just
Okay.
Quande.
Quande?
I'm all,
I didn't know if you had alter ego up there.
I'm the loud one. You guys haven't catched on to that. So I'm usually yelling the A's and the woot woos and all that stuff. But it's just Quande has a lot of variations.
Yeah.
There's that people have used for the nicknames. But yeah, Quande for me.
Cool.
I can remember when I came in for my first interview here at Club Colors in 2016, and my wife, she looks at me, she's like, Club Colors, is that a real company? Like, yeah, it's a real company. If it's not, I'll find out when I go in for the interview. And it's one of those things, though. I think the video breaks down barriers in a little bit of a different way and opens access to other people. So if your instructors are able to use that to gain certifications, training, that's outstanding.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how have you got to this point, right? How have you grown the brand? I mean, is it word of mouth? Is it doing podcasts like this? Like, how do you get your name out there?
Yeah, so a couple of different ways. So when we did start the company officially, every lab that we did was completely sold out in full. Now,
That's outstanding.
that started that way because of who we were in the dance fitness industry already.
Okay.
So you have your people that are just great supporters that want to rock with you, know what we brought to the table. So it started with, and we have learned we will never do an 80-person lab ever again. Like, people kept wanting to be a part of it. And so we're like, yeah, of course. We prefer, like, the typical number that we want is about 20 max, honestly, because we prefer the more personal experience. Once you start to get 25, 30, 35, 40, even if people want to be there, you lose the opportunity to remember people's names, to answer all the questions, to make sure that they understand the material that you're providing. So when we started, all these labs were full. We went to Vegas, Arizona, Virginia. I mean, they were packed. And then, of course, after that, there was a little bit of a slow downhill of growing the instructor community. Obviously, we had great people, so classes were still happening. But because that's kind of what I like to say is when the real business started. Once you get the beginning of your friends, your supporters, the ones that have been there from the beginning, once they're gone, now we have to start the process of all that. So that was kind of it was a blessing for us starting the format that immediately in a blink of an eye, we had 20 to 25 classes in Vegas. We had classes in Arizona. We had classes in Virginia.
It's almost overnight.
Yeah. So that helped the exposure of Commit. And I mean, just amazing people that joined us right off the back. So a lot of our today trainers, creative team members, and ambassadors were a part of that beginning group. And they believe in Commit and they believed in us, and we're just so lucky because that expands. We can only be in so many states at so many days out of the year.
Sure.
So yes, we own the company, but like we couldn't do this without the community.
Yeah.
So different ways that we expand. Coming up in the beginning of April, I believe it's like April 2nd to 4th. My business partner Donna, she's going down to Arizona with two of our other trainers it's called Fitness Fest.
Oh, okay.
So different fest.
I was just going to ask that if there's anything like that you guys go to.
Different
That's awesome.
fitness conventions. We're getting into more of that now.
Okay.
Getting our bearings and figuring out how that works. I'm hosted in January. It's called the Dance Fitness Cruise. It's on a Royal Caribbean. I'm hosted
That's
by
amazing.
Karma
Nice.
Vacations. So I get to bring my format onto the cruise in January, and that brings exposure.
Yeah.
There's different festivals, and there's an event called Gains Fit that is put on by a woman named Candace. That's amazing. She lets people come with different formats. So there's a lot of different ways. I will say, though, that during COVID, we started, it's called Band. It's a virtual app. Basically, you couldn't go live on Facebook because of music rights during COVID, so you get cut off like doing classes.
That's a great point.
Interesting.
It's something that's fundamental to dancing.
Yeah. So, and being able to move and dance during COVID was really important for people. And so we started on this this app called Band, which basically is a streaming, but you just can't see the people on their side. So it's essentially like going live on Facebook. But that is honestly where we had a lot of our growth, because people would be sharing like, I got nothing to do today, but I'm looking forward because this instructor's teaching on this app and then we are following group.
Yeah.
To this day, if I was to go teach a lab right now, there'd be somebody that I've met would be like, you helped me get through COVID.
That's awesome.
And it happened a lot during that growth, because mental health during that time, and just even if they weren't getting the best workout, they were dancing, they were with us somehow.
Getting movement involved in your day when you weren't able to go move as much as you normally would, that's huge.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're seeing, 5 years down the road now, the lasting impact of that. And the growth that it's bringing to the brand.
It's amazing. I love hearing the stories of people during that time. So definitely.
Now, we're talking about a brand at the end of the day. There's a lot that goes into a brand. Yes. And I think one of the biggest things that struck my eye is the color choice that you have. So a beautiful teal color. What goes into selecting that as the color of the brand?
Yeah. So if you look at, dance fitness as a whole is essentially, I don't want to say the same thing from different formats, but it is. We're dancing to music for any format, right? There's different music choices. There's different movements in dance. There's different ways that the class is created. So those are the differences when it comes to a dance fitness format. And one of the things that we wanted was to just find a color that was different. But one of the things that we love to say is that...
It caught my eye.
It is. It's a beautiful color.
Yeah.
Thank you. 008080. Know the color code.
There you go. Write that down.
But that color teal is said to be the one color that looks the best on every skin tone. So we wanted something that would be, that everyone would feel flattering in, because, we make it yellow. There's people that are like, yellow is not my color, or like an orange, or, these colors are fun. And we use all the colors in our retail and our flyers and stuff, but our go-to classic, our color is the teal, black, and white. Yeah. And we love to say that reason, because I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, something as simple as a color choice for a brand can drive that feeling of inclusion and making people feel welcome and confident in something that maybe they're not confident in. You're getting started in your dance journey. What a way to have the brand support that feeling. And that, at the end of the day, I think is what branding's all about, creating that experience.
Yeah.
So when it comes to, how you're operating, you mentioned that you have different states that you're within. How many states are we talking about? Are you coast to coast?
Yeah, we are coast to coast. So technically speaking, we're about 38 states right now.
Awesome.
And now when I say a state, that could be like one class or 5 or 6
We'll count it. It's
instructors.
okay. We'll count it.
Yeah, but we love that, because all it takes is...
We're in sales. We'll count it.
All it takes is one person in one state to start a whole community.
Oh.
So that's why I like that. One is all it takes, and like how much they love and how much they expand. So being in that, and then we've had classes in Japan on base, and just a couple other countries. Really cool. So yeah.
So you mentioned on base. So is there a military tie-in there?
Not necessarily for us, but the instructor.
Oh,
so
okay.
In
Very
certain
cool.
countries, you can't teach the format unless you have, I forget what it's actually called, but being on the base in Japan, since it was like American soil,
Sure.
they're able to teach. So it wasn't a tie-in with that, which we would love, shout out, but until then, we'll take the instructors that teach on it. So
Sure. Very cool. I think that's always, interesting to see how something grows from an organic, boots on the ground. You had your early adopters to something that's going coast to coast now in Japan. There's a lot that goes into that, and it's the people at the end of the day that drives that community. When you look at what's next then for, future opportunities, are there certain regions that maybe you're trying to get into? Or are you pretty well spread out across?
Yeah, I think it's mostly learning how to foster these states that that need that extra support.
Sure.
So what I mean by that, so we do have like a leadership team, creative team, and ambassador team, and we do have people all across, from coast to coast in those roles. But then since the last time we've done like open calls and handpicking some and stuff like that. But it's been a little while since we've done another one. So the goal is definitely to grow the team. Growing your leadership team in different states is honestly, it helps because then there's a go-to person. It helps because there's someone on the ground in that city that people can go to when they feel supported.
Yeah.
We're always here for phone calls or emails or to support any of our instructors anywhere that want to meet with us or talk to us. But it's different than having like a person, I have an interview and they said people come and dance. Like, can you come with me? Yeah. Of course you can have your support system in your own community, but it's nice to know that you have like a leader in that community that's tied in with corporate that talks with us. So
sure.
I do think that's something that will help us grow more in these states and just learning more. We're always, me and Donna, we're always focused on we know that we're learning in the moment at the same time on how to be the best entrepreneur and how to grow the company. So there's always new things that we hear from other people. We love hearing from our instructors and our leadership team. Have you thought about this? What about that? Because what's happening in Chicago is different than Texas, and that's different than Florida. So there are issues that they might have, or something might really work for an instructor in one state and really doesn't work, depending on cultures and different things. So we love getting that feedback because it helps us try to make better decisions.
Yeah, it's so important, right, to listen to people that are giving you that feedback and build the culture that you guys have within the company and within the group of people that you guys are working with.
No, I think, for us, we service brands and specifically colleges and universities all across the country, and we'll see the same thing where there's certain regions where certain products resonate better, or certain messaging is, first and foremost, or certain priorities.
Certain music, in your case, I'm sure, yeah.
So I think it's always interesting when you're dealing with, navigating a brand across different states. Those issues come up, and having those leaders in those states is huge. So how do you keep them engaged? Are those the ambassadors, or
so I can kind of explain the makeup of the team.
Yeah.
So me and Donna, there's us, and then we did have a third business partner, which was Donna's sister, Jessica Black. So she has stepped down from being
That's another Jessica. There we go.
So we call her Jay Black.
Okay.
So,
All right, shout out Jay Black.
Yes. So she has taken a step back from the company. So it's us two. And then we have an amazing operations assistant, Molly, who helps keep everything in line with us.
She's the lifeblood.
Yeah, honestly, yes. And I know Molly's going to listen. So shout out to Molly.
Shout out to Molly.
Shout out Molly. We love her.
Yes. And then we have the leadership team we have trainers.
Okay.
So our trainers are the ones that can host the dance labs. They're the ones that can do the workshops to bring the instructor, to license the new instructors. We have, we have Arizona, Vegas, Virginia, we're well positioned across the U.S. that if someone needs one like close by, we can get somebody there. And then we have our creative team, which is who is responsible for creating the choreography. So every month we go live on the Vault, which is our instructor login website, with 7 brand new choreographies. And they create and then they film. We also have a filming team, and all of the spots that we have a creative team. Filming team is responsible for being the backbone of being bodies for the creative team and being there to help film. We film for YouTube too, so you need a lot of people, and filming consistently with everyone's schedules. It's nice to have that. And then we have our ambassadors in multiple states that are responsible for being present with the other instructors, being that person, that go-to person that they can talk to or have questions for as instructors. They're responsible we have Facebook pages for every state that they pin the schedules in there. We do have it on our website where people can find classes, but we have learned a lot of just students that are like, I love what you guys are doing, but I live in Maryland. I don't care what's happening in California, which is true. So we wanted to house at least an area where those students could just go to learn about what's going on in their state. So the ambassadors help with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Quande, with your position and all the hats I'm sure that you wear, do you do any of the instructing? Or
Yeah. So I teach a class back at home. Some of my students have been dancing with me for longer than 10 years. Cool. So I love that. And then I do trainings. And then we're out here on Saturday. We have what's called the choreo scene, which is my trainer from Vegas is out here, G. We're going to teach the Chicago instructors about, we break down 5 brand new choreos for them. So it's a fun little active workshop. Yeah. But then my focus within the company is retail, social media, marketing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think anytime you're dealing with retail, social media, and marketing, there's a lot of hats to wear there.
Yeah.
And speaking of hats, branded merchandise is something that I think can help drive brand awareness. You're wearing one right now.
Yes.
So how does Commit use merchandise then to keep your ambassadors engaged, your instructors, the people that come to the classes? How do you use that to help fuel brand awareness?
So first off, the instructors love swag. We can have.
That's good to hear.
We have one of our core values is compassion through action, which is CTA. We love an acronym in Commit. CTY, Dance Lab, it's our thing. But it is, corporately speaking, we choose different organizations or causes, and we have a month. So coming up in May, we're focused on Mental Health Awareness Month. So instructors throughout the U.S. will have a master class. They're going to have walks dedicated to the cause, but it's so funny because we can be on a call and we'll talk about the information, like what's going on, and like the first question that's always asked is, okay, so what's the shirt design? Because they love the swag so much. But swag helps us because we are, you know, I feel like no matter who you are, shout out to Zumba. They run the dance fitness space. Any other format below that is always going to be an underdog. It's just so having an instructor and a branded merchandise when they're on that stage is so important, because when people walk in, they might have missed the opening. They might have missed the welcome. They might not even looked at the calendar to see what class is going on. They just walked in, and if that instructor is not in commit gear, it's not obvious what the class is, and those things can go missed by the consumer. It's not their responsibility to learn what they're in. It's ours to let them know where they're at.
Sure.
So, you know, commit merchandise definitely helps for that. I think it keeps people, you know, it's so fun to see because people, like, they love to match our commit twins, or, you know, things where they're like their best friends are wearing the same color as a group. That also helps me, you know, I've had teams like warm up like 5K walks or do certain things. So they'll be all in the same colorway up on the stage. We have a master class on Sunday and we're doing like tie-dye theme, like wear your favorite tie-dye commit shirt. So it's fun to kind of like, people like to dress up and have something they kind of can get involved with in a different way.
They can wear the pride of the organization.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, just be proud of the part that you're involved with, right? I think that's the whole point of branding and having this type of fun stuff.
It's special. It's really special because, you know, people can decide to spend like their money anywhere. And so to choose to purchase swag on top of paying licensing dues, on top of, you know, in this industry, they don't get paid a lot to teach a class.
Sure.
So on top of that, it's like, thank you for choosing us. Like, you know, and this new journey with Club Colors and the new retail site that we just launched a month ago.
Shout out to the shop.
Yes. A shout out to Maribel as well. She's been holding it down. So I'm grateful for you guys for that reason, because we weren't able to offer so many options because obviously inventory, sitting on dollars, all of that. And, you know, it was one of those things where I almost like felt bad. Like instructors be like, when are you guys going to do leggings? Okay, we need a new duffel bag. It's like, yes, I want you guys to have this stuff too. So honestly, Club Colors has been able to really help us with that. And I'm excited to see the next launches as they come. We've only done one so far. So I'm excited for the next one.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're excited about it too. And just thank you for all your support. And I think it'll be a great relationship going forward for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, and I think, you know, for our listeners out there that maybe are considering doing a merchandise shop, to your point, not having to manage inventory, what a great tool that it could be. You're not having to, you know, strategically merchandise, cross your fingers, hopefully you can turn through everything. It allows you to bring access to brands, access to different apparel styles, giveaways, all of that in a different way, all print on demand.
Yes, because listen, we'll think one design was going to work. Next thing you know, I'm stuck with 200 shirts, and I'm like, all right, I got to bring the price down.
Yeah.
And, you know, because we are a small company too, then that affects where we can put the dollars, you know, being able to build a better website, being able to do all these things that funds it, you know, so in turn, it makes everybody win. Like everyone, student, instructor, leadership is going to benefit from us being able to have a more variety-based retail shop and not have to sit on inventory. It's just a super big win for everyone involved.
And I think for, you know, to your earlier point of, you know, what's the t-shirt design going to look like? It allows you to get creative and try things that maybe you wouldn't have tried before, because you have the ability to offer that up and see what the marketplace says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, most definitely.
Outstanding. As far as, you know, what is next for Dance Fitness, you mentioned there's a second kind of sub-brand coming under CTY. As far as classes go, are there a need for more instructors? Are you looking for more ambassadors? What does that dynamic look like?
Yes to all of that. We always want more instructors. But one of the things so we have active instructors and we have instructors, right? So people get certified because they want to get certified and they're a part of the instructor group, but they might not have a class.
Sure.
So that number is very different from how many instructors we have for how many like active classes. A goal would definitely be to get more active classes. So how do we do that? When an instructor gets certified, who in that area is supporting them as well. So like having those ambassadors, that leadership team, and growing that, I do think is very important because you just you have closer mentors. You have someone that you can call on when you just need that extra support. You need practice. Like you can practice virtually with someone, but it's so different when you're in person, you know?
It's that transfer of energy that's in person that you can't.
Yeah.
It's hard to replicate through digital.
Definitely. And the music delay on a Zoom call. It's just that.
Well, going back to that COVID conversation that we talked about, I mean, that's a lot of what we miss, right? That human interaction, that relationship building in person.
Yeah.
So I think that's just a great point.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, that would be a focus. So in turn with that, getting more classes, really building and growing these states that have only like a couple or a few instructors holding it down, of course.
Sure.
And then just kind of evolving with as the time goes. Like as we now, like I said, with this retail site, now that's going to allow us to build other things. And once we see how this works, will this work better? And how can we, one of the things that I do feel is very important is with me or Donna or our leadership team, when they physically go to these cities to host different trainings or even just to go for a fun weekend because there's something they can support.